Welcome to the AR-15 podcast. This show is for you if you just bought your first AR or if you've been building them for years. There is something we can all do to take our black rifles to the next level. My name is Nick Dooley, and I am not joined tonight by my co-host Garth Over.
I am not Garth.
No, you are not. Instead, we have Mike from Let's Go Hunt.
Hi guys. Cue the applause of the fan.
Ravaging applause. Yeah, we're not. We like shooting. We don't have that stuff set up.
It's like Monty Python and the Holy Grail. There was much rejoicing.
Yay! Yeah, exactly. So Mike, Garth couldn't be here tonight. Just harvest things in the middle of wheat country. And hey, hello, I watch what. We're glad to hear our Rumble listeners are over there. So
that is excellent that you're on Rumble. I fear I may kick us off YouTube tonight.
Oh, it happens about every week. So at this point, they keep letting us post a show there, so we're gonna keep posting it until we get permabanned.
Yeah.
Which is a thing that will happen.
Yeah.
But,
and maybe they'll get their pee-pee smacked for it, and maybe they won't. We'll just have to see.
Not for us, because we are not big enough for them to care about.
Oh, no, definitely not. I just mentioned the general scope of the whole YouTube and our little space that we have that YouTube hates.
Yeah, I mean, what is it? It's like print, shoot, repeat does the, oh, we love YouTube. Become a YouTube creator. I think we've stroked the algorithm enough.
I've seen too many children's shows that are like children's movies, like Ron's Gone Wrong. I think the Baymax, not Baymax, but there's too many of these kids' movies that start out with the embrace us, love us, and then it just goes horribly, horribly wrong.
That's how everything that starts that way generally goes.
True.
Like hearts and minds.
It's hard to believe.
Yes. So, Mike, have you done anything cool with guns in the last week or so?
I do cool things with guns every day. That's a complete lie. Actually, yes. So we were at GunCon recently, and I met Gideon Optics there, and struck up a conversation with Bob, and they had a lot of stuff just on display, and I happened to look through the Guardian, I believe is the
first focal plane LPVO.
Right. Yeah, the LPVO, right. So I looked through that, and it's impressive. So
yeah, we both, like Garth and I both love that optic, and as soon as they get it in mill,
yeah, he was after much talking about it, we ended up getting one, and I sent it to Sam. He graced us with a different LPVO, which I promptly put on my SIG 5.56 because I have grown quite fond of using that rifle to shoot at prairie dogs. Notice I said at and not just shoot them.
That is fair. My prairie dog rifle right now has a primary arms optic on it. 3-18 first focal plane, and I love that thing.
Dang. The Guardian that I've got on it, it's basically got the ACOG reticle. I don't have the first focal plane, with the actual first focal plane reticle. I have the second focal plane in a 34 mil tube with basically what looks like the ACOG reticle. So I thought actually that would be really, really cool to shoot at prairie dogs because it comes with the BDC for 5.56, and yeah, it's calculated in like minutes a man, but it should be fairly suitable for shooting at tiny targets and maybe hitting once in every 20 to 300 rounds.
Longtime listeners of the show will have heard me talk about the very first time I did a long range competition. I did something very similar, had thoughts of the same thing.
Was this the long range competition at GunCon between you and Jeremy? Because that
No,
was fun.
no, that one I won, hands down.
Yeah, I know.
No, this was the first long range rifle competition I ever entered. I had been helping a unit get ready to deploy, running a crew serve range, and I had been routinely shooting targets with an M4 and an ACOG on it at 700-800 yards to prove the targets were working. So I come back and I see this thing that says they have an AR class to 750 yards, and I'm like, oh, too easy.
Dude, I'm in 100%.
All day in on this. My buddy looks at me, he's like, hey man, you want to borrow like some of my glass? No, he's a long range guy. I'm like, oh no, I got this.
I got this with an ACOG. I'm good.
Oh, I didn't even have an ACOG. I had a Vortex Viper PST 1-4.
Ooh, that's worse than an ACOG.
Oh yeah. And I know. But in my mind, I'm still going to be shooting at, machine gun targets, which are like 4 silhouettes all together on the same target blank. And if you hit anywhere on it, you're good.
That makes sense.
And I'm like, oh yeah, too easy. And then I go out and it's 8-inch plates at like 600 yards. And I'm like, I was woefully unprepared for this. I did not come in last.
That's a plus.
And I cleaned up I actually got a high score on a stage with it.
Excellent.
Because it was a 6-shot stage and you shot 3 golf balls hanging from strings at 25 yards. And then there was 1 silhouette you had to hit 3 times at 847.
Jesus, that's a difference.
Yeah, and like using pure swag method. I hit like I had a decent zero, so I was like whack 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 on the golf balls, and reached out, was like, all right, I think it's gonna be like here, and I pulled the trigger and rang steel, and they're like, yeah, hit.
Dang.
And I did it 3 times. I set my rifle down. I turned around. And I was like, yep. And walked away going, I totally meant to do that.
Comes in last every other stage.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, the thing on the 5.56 I thought would be really cool for the prairie dogs for that reason. It's already compensated for the bullet drop of 5.56. So that's,
a thing.
That is a thing. Yeah. I don't think I'm going to be able to shoot it out to 800 yards. I mean, I could try. Can't hurt, but I'm no dooley.
Well, no, and with that, like, that was shooting full-size silhouettes, and I'd have liked to have had the whole thing be those size silhouettes, to the point of a couple of guys goes, man, if we were man-sized targets out there, you'd be dangerous. It's like, yeah, that's kind of the point of what I do.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, that's my job.
But also with this, I'm going to come over here and Dirt Racer. So, we have this, what are these prairie dogs? So think of a gopher that weighs 5 to 10 pounds.
And they carry the plague, apparently.
Yes. Well, they have fleas, and fleas carry the plague.
Oh, you're right. I remember that from Ratatouille. What an educational movie.
Exactly.
Or educational 5-minute flick that Rats did that my daughter has watched. I can't remember which. In any case.
Yeah, it's a thing.
Yeah.
And it's the fleas are what carries the plague, and they are flea-ridden animals.
We actually just had a case of the plague in Colorado diagnosed recently, which interesting. I mean, if that'd be a hell of a way to go out, right? Like, oh, I did all this prepping. I've got guns, ammo, food, water for months. Dies of plague.
That's like the world's worst Oregon Trail.
Damn it! Who dissed Terry?
Precisely. But the other part of that is it'd be hard to die from the plague in modern times.
Yeah,
because it's a bacterial infection.
exactly.
So like, we have this thing called penicillin.
Yeah, we have antibiotics for days. Like, oh, you've got the plague, go eat mold-ridden cheese. You're good.
Yeah. And, it took out a third of the population of Europe, but
they didn't eat their moldy cheese.
Precisely.
Like, if you notice, the 2/3 that didn't die, they liked blue cheese. I hate blue cheese. I'm dying of the plague.
Well, and when it was smuggled into the U.S., it was brought in on a cantaloupe.
How do you know that?
Weird, like, rabbit holes I've gone down.
You've officially blown my mind today, so thanks for that.
Yeah, but you say I do that a lot when we visit, so.
That's true, you do. Which is fine. That Dirt Racer says because he's Dooley. Yeah, fair.
It's what I do. I know random things.
I'm going to reiterate that the fact you don't drive a dually with a license plate that says dually on it I'm going to forever plague you with that. And now I'm going to reintegrate the word plague into literally everything I say.
Yep. That is a thing.
It's going to plague you.
But, I mean, I care, just not that much. I have, other than making plague jokes, over the past week or so, especially since the last episode, I haven't done much shooting. I've gone out maybe once, just did a couple drills. I did order a new set of drill cards that I'm excited to get.
What are those?
Let me see if I can find.
I mean, I know what drill cards are. Sorry, I know what drill cards are. I was curious which one you got. While you look that up, last month I actually got in the range quite a bit for me. I've been meaning to go this week, but I've just been not sleeping well, so that's not been happening. But anyway, I go to the range for the first time in like many months, and the RO there's like, "Hey, you ever done dot torture?" And I was like, "No." So he brings me a dot torture, and because I told him, I was like, I don't know how I'm going to do. I'm real rusty. And he's like, well, you basically just follow the directions and put it at a distance you're comfortable with. And I was like, I think I can do 5 yards. And he's like, I'd start with 3. And I was like, I'm not that rusty. I ended up hitting 43, I think we counted, out of the 50 at 5 yards.
Well, that works.
Yeah, rusty. And then I went back 2 weeks later and I did it with both my handgun and my rifle. And I got 46 with the rifle at 10 yards and 45 with the pistol. So that's improvement. And so I'm gonna find a way to print a bunch more of them. And that's going to be one of my new drills.
These are called the Drill Index. They're from drillindex.net.
I have heard of these.
And like they have forward assault drills, 2x2x2, the Bill drill in the Mozambique, transitions, and a bunch of different stuff like that you can do with a bunch of different targets. Air Marshal qualification. I ordered a set, and those should be here tomorrow, so I'm excited to start working with those.
That's really cool, man. I've heard of those. I haven't had a chance to try them yet, especially since I don't work there. I use an indoor range for the primarily. A lot of those drills on that card or on those cards, they're movement drills, and I can't do them. So I'd be like, oh, movement drill, draw a new one. Put it in the discard pile.
Yeah, it works out good for me, and you can do a lot of them with pistol or carbine. So I'm like, this is a winner. Like, let's pull this out.
Yeah, I saw the Mozambique on there. That's one of the things I've been working on in the range recently is Mozambique's just, the cadence and my rhythm and bang, 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 instead of bang, bang, bang. Just the total cadence between the chest shots and the headshot, speed that up, and then eventually I'll never become an operator, but I can pretend, right?
Exactly. It's that's definitely, a thing, and working on that and just improving the skills is really
Right.
where it's at. And speed is fine, but accuracy is final.
Right. You can't miss fast enough is one of the things I was told when I was learning competition.
Correct.
The very good guy that told me that, I started out competition USPSA shooting single stack because I hate myself apparently, but I do love 1911s. 1911s are just fantastic guns when you have one that works from a proper company. I'll put in.
Hey, I built mine and it works fine.
Well,
Now,
you're also how much dremeling?
we're not going to talk about that.
So this dude, I was shooting at a Texas Star and I just couldn't hit the last one, and I had to do a reload, and it took a whole bunch of time. And he pulls me aside afterward. He's like, "How much time did you waste with that reload, missing all them shots when you could have just taken your time, breathed, and hit it with one shot?" And I was like, "Yeah, I know." And he looks at me dead in the eye and he says, "You can't miss fast enough. Take your time, hit it the first time, and then move on." And I was like, that's honestly the most sound advice from shooting I've gotten in basically my entire career.
Yeah. Another one that I love is hit what you aim at.
Right. That's a good one.
And I'm like,
I like that.
I've literally been told that by an all guard shooter. And I'm like, oh, that sounds really dumb, but it makes a lot of sense. Okay.
It does.
But we should probably move on from that other stuff into what you were on to talk about. So obviously you are with the Let's Go Hunt podcast.
IR. It is even on my shirt for those watching. That's actually just an elk that says it over here. No, you just use your imagination.
Yeah, that's what we're here for is imagination.
I mean, it's an audio podcast except for these two guys who are awesome.
Yeah.
Love you. I watched what and Dirt Racer, my bad. Yeah. Dirt Tracer, Jesus. In any case, yes.
Yes. So welcome to Mike's Make-A-Wish. And
crap.
As we go on, we're going to talk a little bit about hunting and kind of setting up rifles for hunting and what it is that we're using. So we're going to have a more loosely topic based tonight and talk a lot about hunting, which is kind of a divergent from what we normally talk about, which is whatever we feel like.
I mean, it's the AR-15 podcast, but it's really the whatever we feel like podcast. We know this. It's fine.
Yes. Oh. So this is why Dave is better chicken boy.
Hey, listen here. Number one, thanks for listening to my show. That's pretty cool. Or our show, I should say. And number two.
Number two is you're number one.
I am number one. I peddle the best chicken in the world, for one thing.
Yes. So with that was and speaking of chicken peddling, yes, fried chicken. Mike is a proud worker at a chicken shack.
Yep.
And does not sell chicken on a stick, but
I work for the Lord's finest chicken shack, and I never work on Sundays. Anyway, yeah, hunting with ARs. Where's your head at? What do you want to talk about?
So I know that you have a new AR that you're probably going to try and hunt with this year because you're excited about it.
I was going to try to hunt with it this year until I didn't draw a single big game tag, and Colorado frowns on hunting ducks with 30-06.
That is fair. I did not apply for tags because I was going to be gone during deer season.
Oh, dang.
And so I was like, oh, well, can't do that. And then they changed the dates of my school. So I will now be here. So I may apply for a leftover and see if I can get one of those. But
yeah. And we still got leftovers. I may be able to find something, some muley tag somewhere where I can probably not take this rifle unless it's close to the road, but we'll get into that.
Yeah, see, in mine is, oh no, I'll just like get a white-tailed doe tag somewhere and whack one of those.
Man, it'd be so nice to just whack a whitetail again. Freezer's getting low, man.
But so when we're talking about this, I think we're going to talk primarily about big game because you have a big game rifle. And
I do.
It is also
game rifle.
What would work as a big game rifle, just because you have like granddaddies and I have the new hotness.
Did you get your new hotness, or is it a different type of new hotness?
No, it's just one of my 308s.
Oh, nice. Okay. I mean, that'll definitely suffice.
Yeah, I have a handful of 308s, and we actually just got done wrapping up a test on 2 308 ARs, and the results were kind of surprising.
Oh yeah,
we ran a PSA Saber milled receiver, so that full ambi, $1,300 PSA Saber, 308.
Yeah,
against a Anderson Ranger 308.
Good Lord, how'd that go?
Garth shot the Anderson amazingly well, and it won out. Never had an issue. Never had a single malfunction. It came down to it was straight up the shooter. I grouped better with the PSA. He grouped better with the Anderson.
Interesting. Did you guys both shoot each rifle?
Oh yeah, like
okay.
Same day, same rifle, same range, like straight up. Okay, hand it over, like do the rifle swap, same ammunition, everything like that, and it was 100% who was behind what rifle, and
that's intriguing.
Like the Anderson for the value was kind of the winner in that.
That is surprising.
Yeah. Like I'd stand behind one. I would definitely not want to be on the opposite end of someone using one because it was a solid shooter.
That's 10, 15 years ago, Anderson versus PSA. I still would have picked Anderson over PSA, but PSA's done such work over the last 10 years. They've improved their quality so much. Coming up from that company that was just trying to get ARs in the hands of people to get that common usage, and now they're actually building quality rifles. And I mean, they're still making the cheap shit, but they're making quality rifles now, and Anderson's still beating them. That's funny.
Yeah, well, and I'm not going to say they beat them hands down. It was just like, if I was going to spend my money in the Battle of the Pores, like that's the one I would spend money on.
And let's be real, PSA isn't a real poverty pony anyway. I mean, people
not
joke
anymore
about it, but no. But Anderson will always be the poverty pony.
Yes, they will. And apparently the owners do not like that joke. I found that out the hard way.
That is unfortunate for them because that joke is prevalent and they're just going to have to deal with it.
Yeah, but they were great people, great company to work with. So is PSA. Like, I have no heartburn with them or anything. It was just that, it came down to when we got the last thing we got down to was economy. And yeah, Like they kind of took it on the economy.
Just cheaper rifle.
Yep. It was, like had all the features, everything like that. If I'm going to grab one to go hunt with, though, it'll be probably the first 308 that I built, because that thing is ridiculously accurate.
Nice.
And has a silencer that's like carbon fused to the end of the barrel.
So dang, dude. So you got very little wiggle room there.
Oh, I could take it off, and it's a Magnum can. Like it's for a 300 Magnum. I have it on a 308.
Nice.
And it's like I could take it out and get it hot and get the can off, but everything about it just works so well because that thing's printing sub MOA groups at 500 meters right now.
That's impressive.
So I'm like, I don't want to touch that. It has a hand load that it likes, and that's what it shoots. And
that I'm gonna have to find new ammo for the thing I'm about to spaceballs into the picture here. But it with the can on it, I the last time I had it out to the range with the can on it, it was shooting about 3-inch groups, and that could have been me just on the bipod. I was having a rough day anyway, so, and it also wasn't sighted for the can on it, so it was shooting like high and right. I've got to resight it and then get down there, like put it on sandbags or something and really focus. But it has shot sub MOA with this ammo without the can. But I might have to try to find something a little more accurate because currently it likes the 180 grain Federal Power Shock.
Okay.
Which, I mean, I like that it likes those. That my Sauer S101, that's my normal hunting rifle, it likes those a lot. So I have a bunch of those, and I'm glad that this rifle likes them, but I need it to like them with the can on it too.
So for anyone who doesn't know what you're talking about,
let's bring in the Spaceball ship.
Yes, let's do this. And as you are running your Spaceball ship up, we will discuss it. Now, this is an actual factory production rifle.
Yes, it is.
Great Lakes Firearms and Ammunition. And it has a very interesting distinction in that it is in 30-06.
I'm not real good with the camera, but
yep, that is a long action. Is a long action AR in 30-06. Now they have, I believe they're just a 5-round mag, or are they a 10?
They only come in 5 rounds. Great Lakes machines basically all of this by themselves. That's how they get away with actually being able to sell them. So basically, for those of you that are familiar with ARs, this has never been done before, except with Noevsky and one other company that charged $4,000 for them.
Well, there was Nemo.
That's right.
Nemo and Falcor.
I don't know why I keep thinking Noevsky, but yeah, the Nemo Omen and the Falcor. They wanted was $4,000 for the Nemo and $6,000 for the Falcor, something like that.
Yeah, and I want to say that Falcor and Nemo were like part of the same company at one point. And so 30-06 or long action ARs are an oddity in and of itself, just because the Nemo, so 300 Win is correct. That would be what the Nemo is, but they also offer that same AR in 300 Win.
Right.
But because someone is trapped in like their fantasy world of make-believe, 30-06 was
an option. And somebody is trapped in their fantasy world of make-believe, because I make believe all the time that 30-06 is still a viable cartridge in the hunting world.
Exactly.
And I maintain this.
Yep. And as you brought that rifle up, I know there's only one thing that rifle's missing, and that is a VZ grip. And the unique features of VZ grips is they're machined from a solid block of G10, and G10 is great because it's durable and doesn't get slippery when covered with mud, blood, or sweat. The 17-degree grip angle and wide variety of textures from mild to extreme, as well as color options available, as well as shorty versions. 1911 grips with extreme customizability, standard slim palm saw, sub notches, safety cuts, bottom profiles, and more. More than 25 textures and 27 colors are available. You can even get grips for my beloved Berettas. And we have a coupon code that is good for 15% off of all handgun and rifle grips, and that code is AR-15 podcast.
I'm so glad that your coupon code is 15%. Because then you have to change it to the AR-10 podcast.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that was you're getting good at those. That was really, really rapid fire. Proud of you.
Yes, I try.
You're right. I should get a VZ grip on this though. A new grip is one of the things it needs.
Well, it'd definitely be better than the A2 grip that's on there.
Oh, of course. I mean that's part of how GLFA
keeps them economical.
Down. Right.
I know that when I talk to them, one of the unique things that they did when they made that long action AR is actually, I'm going to pull it up on screen here so I can show you one. For the people listening, I will describe this. And what they have done is all right.
I lost a lot of weight. I'm Garth.
Yeah, sure. We'll go with that.
I ate him.
So Garth is in the field, Brandon. He could not step away from the truck. But when we get in here, I will bring this up. And if you look at what I'm showing on screen for those of you watching live, they ostensibly put the safety directly underneath the rear takedown pin and moved all of the trigger pack to the rear about as far as you could go without interfering with anything to make room for that giant mag well. But the upper actually is just a standard AR-10 upper receiver.
Yeah, it takes all the standard AR-10 parts too. Like if grips on AR-10s, they're just AR-15 grips. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So nothing special about this shitty A2 grip. Yeah. I took mine down so you can see what what Dooley's talking about. You can literally see how they pushed everything back. The safety's underneath the pin, and then you've got this just
monster
giant hole.
Yeah, and so if you've ever picked up like a Ruger SFAR, they did the same thing, or like the DPMS Gen 3 that they did for a little while.
Yeah,
and the POF, I don't remember what their version was. They all three did a very similar thing, and they're like, "Hey, so I have this crazy idea, guys."
There was a lot of whiskey involved, I'm sure.
And bam, much success.
And believe it or not, this is very successful. This thing shoots great. It is a fantastic rifle.
Yep, an adjustable gas system, everything like that.
Yep. I've got on it a. Let's back up a sec. So we were talking about the Omen and the other, the Falcor, and those were $4,000 and $6,000 respectively. When you brought it up on screen, if those who saw it could see how much this cost, for the audio guys and girls, this is a $1,200 rifle. So they managed to get a large action. They come in 300 Win Mag, 7 ARC, 6 ARC, 7 mil Rem Mag, and 30-06. I opted for 30-06 because, as my friends call me a FUD, I can't be too fuddy. I've got a can on an AR that I'm going to hunt with, but I went with 30-06 30-06 hunting wise for the sole reason that it's cheaper and it still works on literally everything in North America. So that's the only reason. It's cheaper and it works.
100%. I understand that. I just I'm gonna, if when mine comes in, it'll be in 300 Win Mag.
Yeah, and Sam got his in 300 Win Mag, and I totally understand it. And I would
why I'll
get another one.
You know why I will get it in 300 Win Mag?
Why?
Because they don't make one in the Lord's Caliber.
50
264 Win Mag.
I was guessing completely.
264 Win Mag. Because if that is like my one obscure hipster cartridge that I will die on that hill.
Okay, I'm not going to fight you on that because I know nothing about that cartridge.
Fun fact, it came out 2 years before the 7mm Meg did.
What did you call it?
The 7mm Rem Meg.
7mm
so the 7mm.
You said that way too fast and it hurt my head.
I'm sorry.
Kind of like your ad read.
So the 7mm Rem Mag came out 2 years after, and they actually, they won out because they had more bullet preferences or more bullet choices for weights.
Yeah.
And at the time, you could only get 2 bullet weights in the 264. And it was amazing. It'd kill anything in North America. But
what were the bullet weights?
140 grand.
Hi, Vince. Filling in.
He's talking hunting rifles on the AR podcast.
Yeah.
And so that's obscure trivia. It came out in 1958, 2 years before the 7mm Remington did. And that came out in 1960.
What were those bullet weights?
So originally it was the 264 Win Mag was fielded primarily around 140 grain. And there was one or two others. It was 130 and then 140. And you didn't really get any heavier. But then you got into the 7mm and they did, 180 to 150 and all those things up and down.
Yeah. And I personally, I like my 180s.
Yeah. I shoot 168 grains. But I'm going to nerd out quick. Sorry, everyone.
Isn't this whole show about your nerdisms?
I mean, maybe.
So nerd out. It's fine.
I'm gonna talk about things like sectional density of bullets. And when you get into it, I understand bullet weight is a thing, but when you get into the overall ballistic coefficient and sectional density of a bullet, you can provide deeper penetration with a lighter weight bullet if it has the proper sectional density and ballistic coefficient. So a longer, heavier bullet will always have more penetration than a shorter, lighter bullet because one, heavier has more weight to push through it. But a properly shaped with correct ballistic coefficient will have deeper penetration. Because I have been seeing hits on elk from 6.5 Creedmoors that are with 147 grain getting deeper penetration than 180 out of 300 Win Mag.
Interesting. Maybe I have to look at changing to, or at least checking out some accuracy in some 165s.
It has to do it has to do with the length of the bullet and the overall length of the bullet, not just the weight.
Okay.
Because with 30 cal, heavier is better. So if you want to get into really pushing into depth, you're going to need to get into 209. And yes, Vince, the Swedes did figure this out a century ago. It was 6.5 by 55. And you are correct. There was actually, this is going to hurt my brain. Professional hunter, big time, super famous professional hunter, did a lot of stuff in Africa. His favorite cartridge to use was a 6.5 by 55, and he took down bull elephants with it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Wow. For just quick shout out for those who don't know who Vince is, that would be Vince from our show, Let's Go Hunt, in the chat here.
Oh,
So everybody wave to Vince.
Vince is saying Bell. It's like Bell.
Oh. I actually kind of figured Vince would know that.
Hey, I remember things. Like that was stuffed in my head.
Now Vince is saying
6'5", 6'5" by 54. I said 55. Yeah.
Interesting. Vince is full of knowledge. Vince is our resident. I know ridiculous amounts of.
Yeah, I said 6'5" by 55. It was 6'5" by 54. My sincerest of apologies.
1 millimeters. So, anyway, back to GLFA.
Back to GLFA, and you're hunting with your new rifle.
I am going to hunt with this rifle. I want to point out, GF, if you're wondering why they only charge $1,200, it's because they machine everything in house, including the rails. They machine in house. I'll get the camera thing eventually. The rails, the fore ends, everything they machine. The lowers, they machine. I think they do their bolts themselves as well. The bolts are also. They're a lot longer than a standard 308 bolt. I'll pull it out and show you.
And they're carpenter steel.
Yep. And they also have forward assists on them for some rifle. No forward assist, but forward assist grooves on the bolt.
Probably because that's what's in the CNC machine.
Likely. But as you can see, it's
a long boy.
It is. That firing pin sticks out quite a bit too.
Well, it has to go back to where the
hammer is placed. Yeah. That's actually one of my concerns, that it might be a weak point in the rifle, that it might end up bending eventually. But the more I think about it, as long as the hammer is hitting it flush on the back of the pin, it should be fine, because it's taking that transferred energy directly down the cylinder instead of off just a tiny bit. If it's off just a little bit, eventually it's going to bend.
Yeah.
But on the plus side, it can't go too far.
That is correct.
So you might be wondering, gee, Mike, how much does that giant rifle weigh? Way too much to hike in the woods for elk with this. I'll tell you that much.
Now, you also have that decked up pretty well. You have a Magpul bipod on the end.
Yep.
And then what optic do you have on that?
The optic is the Swamp Fox Warhawk 5x25.
Great optic. I have one of those on my 6.5.
Yes, it's a fantastic optic. Weighs a metric shit ton, but still. I went for the cool factor on the rifle and not the weight factor. And I will point out, it
still got it in 30-06.
F30-06 is cool. A 30-06 AR is cool. When you tell people you have a 30-06 AR and they look at you and go, "Did you say?" Yes, I did. Now, does that have the cool factor as I have a 300 Win Mag AR? Yes, because a lot of people think belted magnums are stupid.
And those people are wrong.
I don't have an opinion either way. I am just pointing out that those people have that opinion.
I know. How belted magnums came to be was interesting because of why they're called belted magnums.
Because they have a belt?
Yes, but do you know why the belt is there?
No, I do not.
So the reason why they're called belted magnums is on like a belted magnum case. So the brass casing for it, it has a belt at the back right in front of the rebated rim where you would have your extractor grab a hold.
Mm-hmm.
And that belt is actually what they got headspace off of.
Oh, that's yeah. I do
because
remember hearing about it.
they didn't headspace off the shoulder like they do
Right.
on modern cartridges. So when they were going from rimmed cartridges to, belted Magnum, they did the belted cartridges so that, and not everyone with a 7mm is a tool, but every tool has a 7mm egg. That is correct, Vince. Those words are true. And
Vince is really good at breaking me with jokes, by the way.
that's okay. I like it. But that's what it got its headspace off of, actually, was the belt.
Okay.
So that's another fun fact for the day.
That one's actually a useful fact. I'm not sure how, but it's useful to someone.
I'm sure it is. I mean, explaining sectional density on 6.5 is probably beneficial to someone.
It actually was beneficial to me because it's got me thinking about it a little bit.
Yeah.
In any case, yeah. So I got the Warhawk on top of this, and for the can, I have an Otter Creek Polonium 30. This is actually my first can, and I wanted to get something that I could take out hunting, put on the end of a hunting rifle, and not have to put EPs on for the one shot I'm taking, or take out and put on a AR-15
And do mag dumps into trash.
Yes. And the Pole 30 is perfect for mag dumps into trash.
Oh, see, I have mag dumps into trash cans as well.
And it's there, and it not only is it a great mag dump into trash can, but it actually sounds really good on I don't know what calibers it was designed for, but it suppresses 30-06 pretty well.
Well, 30-06, this is I'm gonna pull this up for data point here as I talk. And 30-06 and 308, which is most of the 30 cal cans are based on a 308 because reasons. And the pressure differences between them are not that extreme.
This is actually one of my favorite arguments in the hunting world is you can't kill elk with a 308. It's not fast enough. The difference between 308 and 30-06 is 100 feet per second.
Yeah.
If you think 100 feet per second can't down the elk, stop hunting.
And to 250 yards, they're like ballistically identical.
Mm-hmm.
So I
the only difference is, 308 dumps down after 800 yards, and then 30-06 I can still hit steel at 1,000 accurately with. That's about it.
You can with a 308 as well, with the right rifle.
I was waiting for it. There's a catch. There's always a catch.
Oh no, 308. Like I have watched a guy repeatedly put rounds on target at 1,200 yards with a M1A, and that is a trick that I haven't seen accomplished in a long time. Yeah, just because M1As are not renowned for their accuracy.
Right.
Yeah, and that 2750 out of a 22 to 24 inch barrel, like 147 grain 308 is about the same. Like legitimately the exact same numbers.
Yep. The 308, I actually bought some Federal PowerShock 308 180s, and they come out at the muzzle at 2,600 feet per second in 308. They come out at 27 in 30-06. Same ammo.
Yeah. I'm looking for my graph because I love graphs.
Graphs are good. Graphs are data. You can't argue with graphs. The Supreme Court used Matt's graphs in their ruling, which was awesome.
And I have one here. I'm going to pull this up to show 30-06 and 308. So as we get in here, you can see that the 30-06 has at 500 yards, depending upon loading, about 7 inches less drop.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Yeah, and I think 500's I keep adjusting the fair distance I would shoot game at, but I think 500 is probably about the max. Just because any further than that, and your bullet time is running the risk of allowing the animal to move, as we've seen recently.
So, like, quite legitimately, 300 yards, you are all the same. Like, you're within you're within 3 to 4. You're within 2 inches of drop.
Yeah. And your muzzle energy is about the same, not totally same, but similar enough-ish that you're going to kill your elk as long as it's shot placement at that point. And since I would venture to say a good majority of hunters will shoot inside 300 yards, mostly because of the populations that live in the wooded areas that don't get much further past 100 to 150 yard shots.
Also known as people who live in the East.
Right.
So there's nothing wrong with that.
No, you guys get all the deer in the world to shoot at, and I'm actually kind of jelly.
Yeah. I'm out here in the great expanses. And
where you have to draw for a mule deer tag.
Precisely. I have to draw for a whitetail tag.
For those of you out east that don't know what that means, it means you have to compete with other humans who also want to shoot animals.
Yes. But so 30-06 and 308, I think, are very comparable rounds. And yes, most deer are harvested at under 150 yards. So elk is a fine cartridge for 308, or 308 is a fine cartridge for elk, I would say.
I love shooting elk out of my 30-06.
Precisely. It's like reindeer, but the opposite. Yeah, and so that is your setup for hunting rifle. We've kind of gone down a weird rabbit hole on that.
Oh yeah,
but it was a fun one for me.
Oh yeah. Honestly, there are certain hunts I would take this on. I joke about like antelope road hunts, and Dave likes to make fun of me for missing a bunch at a herd. And yeah, I
allegedly,
I accept that.
Yeah.
I missed a bunch at that herd, and I also accept that I learned a lesson from that and can try to find better ways to hunt antelope. In any case, that kind of hunt, not the shooting. Dave likes to joke, I got the semi-automatic so I could have mags for faster reloads at missing antelope. My first elk and only elk I've ever shot, my little brother took me out up basically where he lives, and he was like, "They're gonna be elk up here," and I was like, "All right." So we go up. We had my elk by 11:30. We parked on a road, hiked about a half mile or so down this Jeep trail, and there they were crossing the road. And I had numerous other shots. There was herds out to 400. They were milling about. They were watching us, but they were at 400 yards. They thought they were safe. If I could shoot to 400 at the time, I would have taken a shot. I couldn't. So we waited for something better. This herd crossed the road right in front of us at 181 yards, and that's all she wrote. That'd be a perfect hunt for this.
Yeah.
Because you don't have to hike in far. You can get down on it. That'd be a great hunt. Going up deep into the backcountry to hunt for elk, not an ideal hunt for this rifle.
That rifle without can or optic is 9.5 pounds.
With can and optic, we're pushing 12.
Yeah.
Possibly 13 with the bipod.
Yeah, so that is not lightweight.
No.
It's not what we call a mountain rifle.
No, not at all. Do not take this into Denali.
I mean, you can if you're not a pussy. But
look, even if you're not a pussy, 14 pounds on your shoulder is going to weigh on you for a while.
Oh, I know. I'm being 100% facetious.
I know you are. And I'm calling you on your bullshit.
That's fine. That's why I have a Neverly stock pack.
That's fair. Yeah, for the mountains, I have my Sour. It's a nice light rifle.
Yes, that's a backcountry rifle. I'd call it a crew-served weapon. You may not be wrong, Vince.
I don't think he is. You get an ammo hauler, you got to
Well, really,
That's what
so-
children are for, honestly, as crew-served weapons.
well, it is. But also, like, there are so many things that got missed out on and so many jokes that we could have made all night about your rifle. And we just haven't.
So why haven't we?
Well,
It's actually sitting here wondering why it hasn't been made fun of repeatedly.
Well, it wouldn't be making fun of, but it's just one of those, it's like bar light.
Why do you have lights in a bar?
No, like BAR light. Like my favorite joke.
Oh, yeah.
3 Nazis walk into a bar.
Actually, I like that, dude. That'd be really, really cool to turn one of these into like give it a giggle switch, and I don't know if there's room behind it to.
Strangely enough, you could probably how it would probably work best is if you did it with a binary.
Most likely.
Like drop a binary in that, and then.
So we had GLFA on our show, and we talked about these rifles, and one of the primary questions we asked them was, why only 5-round mag? Need 10 and 30-round mag for reasons. And they were like, 5-round mags. So I don't know if that's ever going to happen, but it'd be nice.
Oh no, it will. It'll happen. I know a guy with a mill.
That's another thing. They milled these magazines out themselves too, because they had to come up with something new. I can't wait for them to come out with something a lot more ergonomical, because
if only we knew somebody who had a 3D printer.
Yeah, I don't know anybody that's got one of those.
Because if you scanned that and put it in a 3D printer, you could probably make a magazine and just find the right mag spring to fit it and make a longer mag to fit.
Actually, that's a solid idea. Yeah.
That's what I'm here for.
Giving solid ideas. Dur Tracer, I have enough to fill 1 or 2 30-round mags of 36. And I would cry when I'm done shooting it on full auto, but it would be a hell of a lot of fun.
I have ammunitions.
I think we need to make this a reality. I think I need to get GLFA to help me make one of these full auto.
Well, even if not full auto, we could at least binary it.
Yeah, and it'll take any AR triggers as well.
Yeah.
Which, when we were at Brownells, that little dealy-do they had to try triggers, that thing was awesome.
Yeah, and I know that you can run a Franklin Armory binary in a AR-10.
I'm getting more and more intrigued.
Yeah, I did a couple of them. And it's fun.
So I don't have a round on me, but if you look at this thing, like what you see is blue, that's all that is 30-06.
So what they did is it's a single stack magazine.
Right.
And it's a long action. It's a long action magazine.
It kind of looks like a mini Barrett mag, honestly. Well,
yeah, like let's talk to somebody with a 3D printer.
Yeah, and let's do that.
Then let's print one out. Let's take one apart and put the follower in it, and then just make a 20-round single stack mag, because
Jesus, the rifle's already large enough. Let's just make it even larger.
Is it low shelf? I don't know that you could put you'd have to do some interesting things to put a sear in it, just because of how the rest of it is put together. I don't believe it would be considered low shelf.
I don't know what that means, but we can open it up and look.
Because the safety sits where the shelf would be. High shelf and low shelf refers to underneath the rear takedown pin and where the safety is, if it has a step up or if it's straight down. And yeah, that doesn't count. That's a neither.
There's nothing there.
No, Yankee Boogle would not work in this.
I don't know how well anybody can see, but
Oh, I can see it just fine because it's the way that goes together. The pin that would hold it down is would not be in the right spot.
got it.
There we go. That's how I'm going to phrase that.
The pin that would hold the auto sear down.
Yeah, the alleged auto sear.
The alleged. Yeah, we're not. This is all Minecraft, by the way. Assuming it could even be done.
Well, it would be called a lightning link, which was a thing they did in the 80s. And they actually do have those that are serialized that you could buy. And it was, they're ridiculously expensive as well. But it's a lightning link, and it dropped down on top of the sear. And it was just like you turned it off of safe and you were on full auto.
Oh my.
Yeah, like it's a run and gun.
I'm honestly glad Dave's not here because he would just have a field day with the jokes.
About what?
About, yeah, because I need full auto to spray at antelope and miss them even faster.
Yeah.
I need 20 round mags to throw an entire box not into antelope. They're there. I can see them.
They write themselves.
They do.
Yeah. Well, and we could keep going on down this vein forever.
We really could.
Because that would be very easy to do. But before we do that, we need to talk about Patriot Patch Company, patriotpatch.co. They have a gorgeous metal signs like the one I'm holding up that says the Tree of Liberty must from time to time be refreshed with the blood of patriots and tyrants.
That is beautiful.
They also make the Patch of the Month Club, where you can get all kinds of sweet morale patches. If you are not a member, you should be. And Jake and the crew over at Patriot Patch, patriotpatch.co, moved to the glorious state of South Dakota to escape commie Illinois.
Good for them.
Yes. So go support them. Go to Patriot Patch, patriotpatch.co.
God,
Garth normally does that ad read.
I don't have show notes, so I can't do ad reads.
That's fine. That one, saying we have show notes is a bold overstatement. But
bold of me to assume you prepare for your show.
I mean, I do, ish.
Mike, what are you doing tomorrow night?
Great, we're going to talk about hunting rifles. Come on, it'll be fun. And now you know the rest of the story.
And here I am to annoy you all.
But so Great Lakes firearms and ammunition, long action ARs are a solid buy. I've shot them. I actually remember the first time you touched one.
I do too. And you remember how excited I got?
Yes. So right now, the only one they have in stock is the 300 Win Mag. Because they only show things that are ready to ship on their website, from what I understand.
Right. So basically what they do is they build stuff and they ship them to the distributors first. And if they have excess, you can buy it from them directly. And that's what's on their website. If you want one not directly from them, you got to find a distributor that actually has them. I don't have that information. I'm not an FFL, so I know nothing about distributors.
I know a handful that can carry them. So I know that I was like, oh yeah, I've seen these before. Like, wait, come here, you gotta try this out. Oh no, my back's kind of sore. Shut up, you're gonna like this. I think that's exactly how that conversation went.
That sounds about right, knowing me. Like, that wasn't a great day anyway. I mean, the day was great, just,
Yeah, well, you also were like still in your refractory period after walking through the Japanese section of the museum.
Yeah. I was super, super happy about seeing all the uwu stuff.
Yeah. I think you even made that noise, and somebody looked at you and was like, what?
And I looked at him, and I did the eyes and the happy face and went, la la.
Yeah. And then they looked at me like, you brought him?
And they realized they couldn't do anything about it because I was carrying, and I was wearing my hunting belt, which has my M17 on it. So even if I am a little crazy, who's going to do something?
Also, at this range event, I was wearing my tactical cowboy hat.
That's actually how I found out just how autistic you are. And all the rest of us are.
Yes. When I get out with a cowboy hat that is ear pro and nods mounted to it, you're like, all right.
Poor
Got it.
hard-headed veterans was so not amused with you. He goes up to hard-headed veterans and he's like, so what would it take to get this in 3A? And they're like,
no.
Please leave. Sir, this is a Wendy's.
Yeah, it was about that bad. All right. Mike, where can everyone find you and Let's Go Hunt?
Let's Go Hunt's on all your major podcast dealy doos. We are also on Reddit at r/Let's Go Hunt podcast. We're on Instagram at Let's Go Hunt podcast. And we are just having a lot of fun. So check us out, please.
Right on.
Especially if you like duck hunting. I'll talk all day about ducks.
Or beavers.
Sam will talk all day about beavers, and we will even go an entire show without making the joke. I promise.
Someday it'll happen.
I highly doubt it.
I know.
Sam gets so mad.
Well, he's always after those mangy beavers.
He is. That's his fault for going after him.
Precisely. All right. Well, guys, we have some other stuff coming up. Next week, we will have Gun Owners of America on again. We're going to talk a little bit about Goals, their national convention that's coming up, and all of the great things that Gun Owners of America are doing over at GOA. And, well, guys, I think this is going to cover it for this one. This has been a fun show. I know I had a blast with it.
Oh, absolutely. And, thanks for having me on, Nick.
Yep. And, with that, everyone, make sure to check out Let's Go Hunt. Check out all that stuff. And we'll be back next week. And you folks out there, stay safe and stay armed. Remember, no one is coming to save you. Support the people who support the show. Primary Arms, VZ Grips, 4Patriots.com, and Patriot Patch Company. Be sure to check us out on social media. AR-15 Podcast 2.0 on Instagram. AR-15 Podcast 2.0 on YouTube. AR-15 Podcast 2 on Twitter. AR-15 Podcast on Facebook and wherever podcasts are found. If you just want to drop us a line, let us know how we're doing, or give us a show idea, make sure to send that email to AR-15podcast 2.0 @gmail.com.